Welcome to You Are the Answer, the podcast that helps you reconnect with the most powerful healer you know, your own body. I'm Naomi Mills, chiropractor, healthcare professional, and believer in the natural intelligence within us all. In this podcast, I explore what it means to trust your body, decode its signals, and take ownership of your well-being without quick fixes or health fads. Whether you're just beginning your journey or deep in transformation, I'm here to guide you back to the truth. You are not broken. You are the answer. Hello and welcome to You Are the Answer. I'm your host, Naomi Mills, and this is episode 24. Thank you so much if you are one of my regular listeners who's been tuning in every week. Welcome if you're new to the podcast. If you like what you hear, if you click like, subscribe, and follow, and maybe even share it with your friends, because it's difficult for people to find small podcasts like this. Sometimes it feels hard for me to get the word out there, and I am by no means my best salesperson of even sharing it. So if there is anything you would like to do in the spirit of reciprocity in sharing this podcast, I would be extremely grateful. Today, I want to talk about projection. We're in our mindset series, and understanding projection is a really good way of understanding how sometimes our minds take over our bodies. And so I'm going to begin with a small story for you. And it was when I was doing my firewalker instructor training, which is about much more than just learning how to set up and run firewalks. It was also all kinds of other self-empowerment challenges, from breaking arrows on our neck, walking on broken glass, and the trust fall. And this wasn't just any old trust fall. It's quite high up. I would say minimum 6 feet. And when you climbed that ladder up to that platform, where you were then going to turn your back to the group that were meant to be catching you and shuffle your way back, it actually doesn't matter how much you trusted that you would be caught. There's still that moment of allowing yourself to fall over the edge that is frankly terrifying and difficult. And so we were, as a group, practicing these trust falls in the kind of the safest, most organized way that you can do it. But what happens fairly inevitably sometimes is the group doesn't catch the person. And wouldn't that be your worst nightmare, hey? The one that wasn't caught. And there was a member of our group that wasn't caught properly, and they fell to the ground, had a little bang to their head. They were okay, they were safe, they weren't badly injured, and they were taken away by other members of the team that were training us, just to let them take a breath, double check they were okay. Weren't really making a big deal of it. And I remember the leader, the guy in charge, really very consciously in that moment, as everyone's like, oh my God, we just dropped someone, and are they okay? And who's going to go next? And what's going to happen next? Really rallying his energy to be like, right, who's next? Who's coming up? Right, you are, okay, blah, 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 blah. Taking us through the next fall, the next kind of series of steps that we would do to do that with somebody, and getting on with it, basically. And for me as a facilitator, it was a useful lesson, because it helped me realize that where you want the energy to be is really important. And what we give when we give energy to the wrong thing, or the thing that's not helpful, it's wrong because it's not helpful in that moment, we can let the whole group down. And I learned that lesson because as he carried us on, another group member really had a bit of a meltdown at him and said, I don't know why we're all still doing this. So-and-so's over there. They've banged their head. Are they okay? It's like you don't care. And this stopped the leader in his tracks. And he was like, what do you mean I don't care? Of course I care. But I can see that that person is safe. I can see that they're okay. I can see that other members of the team are dealing with them. And my responsibility is to you, making sure that this group is okay and that we're not losing all our focus and our energy on this negative outcome. And he said to her, you are projecting, because this woman got really upset that that other person probably didn't feel cared for or seen or like they mattered. And what he was trying to point out was all of those feelings weren't really coming from the person who'd fallen and banged their head. It came from one of the witnesses. It's something I see sometimes in the sweat lodges that I hold, and where things are being spoken and being released. Other people in the group sometimes share that they felt uncomfortable. And it's not the person sharing that's uncomfortable. They're releasing, they're letting go, they're speaking their truth because that's what they came to do. But if you're witnessing it and it's bringing up stuff for you, that's projection. When we don't see that it's our stuff that's coming up, we put it on somebody else. There's a fable I sometimes tell of a monk in a boat, and he's out meditating on the water, and this beautiful, gentle body of water in his boat, eyes closed, really at one with nature and with source. And he's there with his eyes closed, just floating gently as he has been for maybe half an hour now, when he feels a thunk of another boat hitting his. And he's so ready in that moment to fly his eyes open and shout at the person that has disturbed him from his meditation, that has not kept good control of their boat. But when he does that, only to find it's just a completely empty boat that's lost its mooring. It's just come loose. And that anger is what's inside of him. And that's projection, is when we are putting our emotions or allowing those filters to come in front of us. And it's not really about us at all. It's about something that's happened or that we're witnessing, but it's throwing up loads on us, and we make it about the other thing or the other person, not realizing that it's really about us. And I don't want to give too much energy to this story because it doesn't fit my worldview. But there's no point in pretending that right now there's a lot of reasons why we might be experiencing projection. People worrying about if they're going to get on their holidays or their petrol prices or the cost of living or food or whatever new story is being put out into the public consciousness, and it's coming in waves, and people panic about something for a week or two, and then the media most often moves on to something else. And we can feel probably more sensitive and more on guard right now than we normally would. And so let's think about this for a second. This is your invitation for today. And it's called the circle of control. And when you see it, it does help reframe perspective and take away some of that projection. Because remember, everything I share about in this podcast is about what your body and brain are doing with each other and to each other. So if our minds are in this state where we're taking our emotional baggage and we're allowing it to be thrown up, if we're allowing these stories to become our reality, then it's pushing our central nervous systems more deeply into that fight, flight, protection, fear response. And that's going to be affecting our sleep and our mood and our behaviour and just how we feel in ourselves, how settled we feel in our own bodies, in our own futures, in being able to trust ourselves as well. And the circle of control is very simple. And so I will include a link to a visual on the show notes. But you can imagine this very simply. And if you're not driving, if you're just sat somewhere maybe enjoying a cup of tea, you might want to just draw it out in front of yourself. But it's a central circle that has you in the middle. And that's what you control. Then there's a slightly larger circle outside of you. And we call that your circle of influence. And that could be your friends, possibly your family, your colleagues, people that you have close enough relationships with that the way that you think and act might be influencing the way that they think and act. But you don't control them. Gosh, don't we wish we could control our children and our families sometimes? But we don't. But we may influence them. And then everything outside of that is out of our control, whether that be world politics, world wars, the price of whatever, is far outside our circle of control. So when we're thinking about regulating our nervous systems, creating lives and states that make us feel safe and held and grounded, guess where we need to look? Because if you're looking way out into the whole rest of the page that says things you do not control, which we often do, right? We try to grasp some sort of control over these things. It leaves us even further from that calm, regulated, safe state that we're looking for. That's going to allow us actually all the tools and the resilience that we need to get through the hard times. So when we are noticing that some of this stuff is really showing up, looking back into that circle of what can I control? Well, really, it's me. So then I refer you back to some of the other episodes we talked about right at the beginning of this podcast, and all the things you already naturally know help you feel better, safe, calm, and grounded. Whether that's making sure you're eating the right foods, making time for exercise, making time for friends and family, letting go and recognizing the things that you are trying to exert control over that you really have no control over. And it doesn't mean we like it. But actually, the trust fall is a great metaphor for this, because there's a point when you are shuffling back, and you decide you're going to do it or you're not going to do it. And there's also a physical point, isn't there, where you lean so far back, you're falling. You can't catch yourself anymore. You have to trust that you'll be caught. And that's the world and the kind of spiritual side, I guess, that I live in, is trusting that I will be caught, that I will be okay anyway, whatever happens. Whether I fall and bang my head, or whether I fall and I'm safely caught, or somewhere in between, I will still be okay. I will recover. And the way to make that even more likely is to really dig deep right now into spending all the time and money you do have, the resources you have got, into reinforcing your own sense of well-being, safety, and okayness. It's not even a great word, but you know exactly what I mean. So it's doubling down on your self-care practices, your meditation, your being outside on bare feet, your adjustments if you get them, massages, yoga, Pilates, time with your friends. It's making sure all those things come together, quality family time, nutritious food, so that your nervous system is being fed and supported so it can catch you, so that you can be a strong, resilient version of yourself, regardless of what's going on outside. Because ultimately, we can't control anything other than what we're doing for ourselves. And I hope that feels really freeing, and I hope it feels true. And I hope it invites you to kind of put yourself in your mind's eye up on that ledge with your back to a group of people that you've not really met before, and trusting that you'll be caught. And so to end today's podcast, I decided to randomly pull one of my new embodiment cards, my You Are the Answer nervous system reset cards. And it's funny because the one that's come up is noticing. Healing starts when you notice, not when you fix. Notice one body sensation without trying to change it. And ask yourself, what is my body already asking me to notice today? And I think actually that's a really great reminder from the universe, actually, when we're talking about projection and what we can control and how the external world might be influencing our inner worlds, that it might not be something that you can suddenly change or fix, but the real power comes in the noticing. And noticing how that feels in your body, how everything is showing up for you, and that noticing in and of itself will create the change. Thank you for joining me on You Are the Answer. If today's episode sparked something in you, share it with someone you care about and leave a review to help others find their way back to their body too. For more tools, inspiration and resources to support your journey, head to www.youaretheanswer.co.uk. And until next time, stay connected, stay curious, and remember, you are the answer, and you always have been.